get a grip and get something done. Should I be saying this?
I'm gonna move to the beat of my own drum.
We really need to have a talk. I'd like you to excuse my appearance today. I'm just getting ready for a meal for my dad's birthday, but we just need to have a talk about this industry because I keep seeing so many things, so many false promises, and I just feel like someone needs to speak up about it. Like, I'm sick of seeing people get almost tricked into being a part of the industry based on the idea that they'll have this unbelievable lifestyle that they wouldn't get with any other job. Also, please excuse the hair. Oh, my contact lenses are not fun. Oh my goodness. I've got my heatless hair curler thing in, and that's why I look like this. I'm gonna look so bad in this video, but I don't know how people do it, where they have their hair down when they're filming and like just trying to look nice. No thank you. Beautiful. So this whole thing is basically just going to be about the truth behind freelancing and entrepreneurship and all that kind of stuff. Now, by definition, I am an entrepreneur, but I would not use that word to describe myself. Nothing against that word, but that word is kind of associated with like millionaires and stuff in my head. I'm not a millionaire. So let's start with this whole idea of the 9 to 5. Just the 9 to 5 in general. I've done a few posts over on my Instagram about this before, and I work for business women where the tagline kind of thing is like basically getting rid of the 9 to 5. Being a freelancer, being a social media manager, entrepreneur, businesswoman, it allows you to do that. It does. You can get rid of this whole 9 to 5 life. It's completely possible. But I think an element of that is, yes, you get rid of the 9 to 5, you can work whenever you want, but you will probably end up working much later than the 9 to 5 hours. You can take the morning off, you can do this, you can do that, but what happens at midnight when you want to go to sleep but you've got this stuff to finish doing, or you can't sleep because you've got all these like ideas running through your head to do with your work, because generally it's quite creative. Like that, I've got nothing against the idea of promoting that, like, oh, like get rid of your 9 to 5 life. But I also think you should appreciate that 9 to 5 is something that people want. I can work whenever I want, but I do choose to try and stick between the 9 to 5. And then also, why is 9 to 5 why is that a negative thing? Why is that a thing to be, like, it's an achievement for somebody to get a corporate 9 to 5 job, the thing that people are trying to promote you against doing. And I just don't think that's great. Like, if you're in your 9 to 5 job, you're happy, you are making enough money for you to be happy, live how you want to live, that is fine. Good for you. I bet you've worked hard to get there. You don't need to now have a complete career change just because some people think it's better to not have a 9 to 5 job. Like, I don't think that's fair. And that routine of a 9 to 5 is actually quite freeing in some ways, because you know when you're off. You know when you're going to get your weekend off every single week. And especially in the early years of doing the job that I'm doing, your free time, like, I've only just managed to start giving myself genuine weekends off. I mean, it's a Sunday today and I'm still filming a video, like, and it impacted relationships because I work all the time. Like, friendships and relationships get affected. Whereas when you have a 9 to 5 job, you know you're not going to see each other much during the week, maybe in the evening, but you'll probably be tired and, want to go to sleep. So yeah, so my first point was that the whole 9 to 5 marketing ploy, I suppose, is true to an extent, but I don't think having a 9 to 5 job is something you should be ashamed of. I think if you go down the freelance route, I think implementing some sort of routine, doesn't have to be 9 to 5, but something like that, will be very beneficial for you, for both you, your family, partners, to provide some sort of structure to your day. And that took me a long time to realise. Like, I used to thrive off the fact that I could work whenever, but then it just wasn't as beneficial for me, and I wasn't giving myself the time off that I needed. And in a similar way, one thing that just really, really annoys me is the whole thing of you can work from anywhere. You can. You can. I mean, I start every single morning from 7:30 sat in Costa, which, I mean, it isn't exactly far, but I can work from anywhere. I could go away, I could go on holiday and work from anywhere. The rubbish thing about that is that I would be bringing my work with me on holiday. But my main point with this, which is just kind of stupid, this whole thing of working on a beach, you can't see your laptop. I have a balcony and I can't work on the balcony because I can't see my laptop in the sun, and so you can't work on a beach. And that's really like a really minor thing to bring up. If I can't work in my balcony in Manchester, I don't think I could work in Lanzarote. A lot of this stuff that I'm saying probably does apply more to when you're first starting out and stuff. That's my kind of point overall. Like, I don't want you getting into this thinking it's going to be easy and thinking that you straight away you're going to have this freedom, this financial freedom and all of that, because it's just not realistic. And I don't like when it's like the kind of thing, oh, you get this in 12 weeks, get this in this time. You can't put a time frame on it. It's a harder industry than people make it out to be. Now for my next point, I've kind of talked about this on Instagram before, and I'm not afraid to be honest about it. I think it's a difficult thing to talk about because it's kind of become trendy, and I know personally I avoided talking about it because I didn't want people to think I was like jumping on trends or anything, but I do not know why you would want to even pretend that this was something that you were dealing with. But my mental health is pretty poor. I could do all the self-care in the world, and yeah, though that is important, which I'll mention in a minute. I don't even like saying it because it really just feel like I'm just trying to I don't know, use it for views or something, but I struggle quite a bit with depression, and it's tough, obviously a load of reasons, but like I can't really just take the day off if I'm not feeling up to working. Like, no. I have clients that I can't let down and I don't want to let down. If I decided not to show up to work for a week, I would lose the clients, I'd be left with nothing, I'd be back to square one. Now I'm not saying that it's any different in a corporate kind of job. I think you could probably have a bit more leeway. You could call in sick, and I think mental health is a very valid reason to call in sick completely. And please do not let them make you feel the way they make you feel when you ring in sick, as if you've just let the whole company down. They don't, in all honesty, in a lot of places, they don't care about you. And I know that sounds horrible to say, but when they ring you, this is like, this has nothing to do with freelancing, but when you ring up and say that you're ringing in sick and they treat you completely horribly, they don't care. They don't care about you. They care that their day's going to be a bit harder, or that they're going to have to try and bring someone else in. They care about maybe any paperwork involved or whatever. Like, they're not bothered about how you're feeling. So don't feel bad. Ring in sick if you need to, if you're having a bad day. And yeah, if you don't turn up to this job, you lose your clients, you lose your money, you can't pay your rent. It's kind of like, you've just got to get through it. You've just got to get through each day and try to make it as bearable as possible. And I'm not saying everyone's going to have these kind of issues as well, but we all have like bad mental health days, and I haven't yet worked out how to deal with that, if I'm being honest. I just have to. That's how it is. There was one time when it was particularly bad, and some of the clients that I was with, like, we'd been together so long that we had a really good relationship. It is important to set boundaries, which I'll talk about in a minute, but on the whole we had a really good relationship, and I was kind of able to say, listen, I'm really, really not feeling up to it today, and they were fine with it. But you will not get that with everyone. It's hard to find clients that are that understanding, and to a degree, as horrible as this is, your mental health problems aren't their concern. They are paying you for a service, and how you're feeling, they don't care. That's nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? Which is, I know, horrible, but it's the truth. Yeah, so boundaries as well. That's something you've definitely got to set. I've had trouble with this in the past. It's not too bad. I do have quite a few clients that I love talking to, and I feel almost like the friends. They're still, I wouldn't necessarily go to some of them and be like, oh, this has just happened, I've just argued with Fergus about this or something like that, because it's not their, like, I don't want to burden them with my issues as well. But it's good to have a good, friendly working relationship. But from the other side of it, if someone is treating you badly and someone is not treating you like a person and is just treating you like a service provider, I know that's kind of what you are, but then you don't need that. Or you might need that. That's another thing. As much as I will encourage this, if you have a client that is not making you happy, if it's making you not enjoy the work, I'm not saying you're going to love every single element of the job. I mean, who loves every single bit of their job? Really? But if you've got a client that's not making you feel too good, just end it. End it with them or speak up. Sometimes, I'm going to be honest, you know, I might not be in the position financially to do that, and I understand that. It's not as easy as just saying, oh, just leave. But if you know you can make it work, then cut it off. Cut it off. Don't let them have any power in the situation. You're the one with the power. Don't make it that you need them to survive. No, they need you. They need your help. You don't need them. You gotta think of it in that way, which is like, it's hard to do. It's hard to even understand in your mind how the relationship should be. But even just setting boundaries, such as, you know, having working hours and sticking to them. You can use certain tools like different calendar apps, so that they can schedule in calls with you rather than and kind of see what your day is like. So you don't have to say exactly what you're doing and when you're doing it, but they can see when you're free in the day to talk to them or whatever it may be, and that's when you work with them. You don't work with them after 5 or whatever time you decide to stop working. You're not answering messages from them at 11 at night. I had somebody once call my personal phone, which I hadn't given that number out, so I don't even know how they really got it. I think it was like at 1 in the morning so they wanted a post change in 2 weeks' time. And they're like, oh, could you do this at 1 in the morning, 2 weeks before the post was even going up? And like, that is inappropriate. It's unprofessional from their end as well as a business owner. Shane Rose, if you're watching this, she messaged me about imposter syndrome, and I said I was going to mention it in this video today. And that is a very real thing that I deal with. I think it's so hard. The fact that we're sat at a computer and you're paying me to sit at a computer and do stuff like post on Instagram, and it can be really hard to get into your head that that is a service worth paying for. I mean, it can be hard enough sometimes convincing clients that you are worth their time, but never mind having to convince yourself. Like, that's really hard. A lot of the time the issue is that the stuff that we're doing, we know what we're doing. We know it well. We're quite fast at it sometimes. And it's easy to us to a degree, which is exactly why they're hiring us. Like, we shouldn't have to be struggling through our work day. The reason we're being hired is to save them time, or because they can't do it. And would you hire someone to do something you couldn't do? Of course you would. It doesn't matter what they're doing, or if they're sat in front of a computer, or if they're building a house. Like, each job, of course, has its different difficulties, and I'm not trying to compare any jobs. I mean, I couldn't build a house. But that doesn't mean that this job isn't worth anything, and you're helping them in an area of their business. And by saving them the time that they would be spending on social media, that's just less than a whole week of each month that I'm spending on one client. So I'm saving them a week, basically. We'll just round it to a week. Time is such a valuable thing, and it should be worth people's money. And there's also the side of it that the more you work in this job, the quicker you'll get at things. So you can keep charging the same price that you did to begin with, but it takes you like half the time. That doesn't mean that just because you're spending less time in it, you should start charging less. That is your experience that comes into play. You should never feel guilty for charging people for your time. You are worth so much, and I'm not just saying that to be one of those, like, you know, motivational people that say that. Like, I genuinely mean it, and the sooner you realise that, the better. I got a little bit intense, didn't it? Side note, completely unrelated. If you're doing like shimmer shades and you don't wet your brush, you need to. It changes everything. Honestly, everything. Everything that you're experiencing and worrying about, I have been through the exact same thing. And it takes a lot. I even still have days today where I just don't feel like worth someone's money, and you do feel guilty about it, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, but I completely get it. This is going to sound so needy, but it's really good if you can get clients that regularly appreciate you and make that known. Like, they tell you how grateful they are for you. They tell you what you're doing is good. And I know not everyone's going to need that. I don't even know if I necessarily need that, but it is nice to know that you're on track. In a lot of other jobs, you get certain things. You get bonuses. You get there's like employee of the month and stuff. Imagine if I had like an employee of the month system. It would just be me every month. I think I should do that. I'd love to have that on a wall somewhere, like just pictures of me as employee of the month. Yeah, you don't get a lot of praise sometimes in this job, and then when you do, it can be for stuff that you find. Oh, I hate these little things. How long has that been there? Yeah, stuff that you find easy, and you're like, why are they thanking me for making this little graphic and stuff? But it's because it's not something that they find. There's stuff in their job that, like, the stuff that they do in their business that you can't do. I mean, with the woman I was on about before, the business coach, there's so many things that I'm learning on a day-to-day basis in her job that I've never done before, and it's so valuable because there's so much out there to know. There's so much, and you can keep expanding your own knowledge and keep building on the services that you provide. A lot of people, for example Latasha James, who I talk about all the time, she started out as a social media manager and she's now does so much more. I mean, social media management is like takes up the least time of her week now. I can kind of feel myself moving towards that, because I think the platforms, which is something else we have to talk about, are just... yeah. I am losing the will to live when it comes to Instagram. I think they are just trying to do too much. I talked about this in another video. You don't need to be exactly like TikTok. The reason we have different apps and different platforms is because they each provide a different service. They've all got a different purpose. So why are you trying to make Instagram just like TikTok? I don't mind Reels. It's growing on me. I hated them at first. I don't like the main form of content. Like, that's the kind of thing that will get you the most likes and views and stuff. I don't like that. I feel like it is really unfair and almost bullying people into using the newer parts of the platform to try and get it to be more like TikTok. Oh my goodness. Not everyone is that comfortable in front of a camera. I mean, I know I'm not. I hate Reels. I hate filming Reels. I'm not a dancer. I'm not someone who mouths along to stuff like that. It's just not me. And it's also, like, it suits some people's brands, of course, but it's also not as professional as I'd like to be. Like, me mouthing along to something. I've done it a couple of times because you just feel like you have to, but this has been a big rant, hasn't it, about so many different things. I don't even know what I was actually talking about. Oh yeah, and firstly, I don't know if you've experienced this as well, but the Reels editor within Instagram is so bad. Every time I make a reel within Instagram itself and go to upload it completely changes the formatting of the text until the text is squashed or in the wrong places on the page. And like, why are you changing even more features when you can't even get the ones that are already on there to work? I just think it's ridiculous. Like, and the fact that it's crashed twice now in like the space of a week. Yeah, twice in the space of a week. Like, that's just not acceptable. If I stopped working twice in the space of the working week, I think my clients would have some problems. I'm not trying to scare you away from this industry at all, by the way. Like, that's not the point in this. I absolutely love this job, and it definitely has its perks. There are elements of freedom that I love. I love that if, as much as I do like to try and stick to the 9 to 5 thing, if I had some friends that wanted to do something one day because they were off, there's nothing stopping me. Sometimes, I don't lie, sometimes I've had to bring my laptop with me, but that's something that I'm working on myself, like trying to get to the point where I don't feel, because I get worried if I've not got my laptop with me in case someone needs something, which is an element of boundary setting that I need to work. But that's my problem, not really theirs. Like, I'm sure if I said to most of them, look, I'm going out, I won't be at my desk for 3 hours, I think they'd be, alright, have fun. Like, I don't think they'd be angry about it. I just love this curler. I'm not trying to like be promoting my own product, which is something I should do more, but I always feel bad when I promote stuff. But it's just so useful, and it's so comfy to sleep in. It's like sleeping with a braid. Anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, I do love bits of the job, and it feels very rewarding, and I'm doing something that I absolutely love. But that being said, it's no easier than any other job. Well, it's probably easier than some jobs. I think if you're a nurse or a doctor saving lives, that is a little bit different than posting on Instagram. But my main point is it's not necessarily easier than all of these corporate jobs, these 9 to 5 jobs that you're being told to stay away from. It definitely has its own difficulties in different ways. That ability to switch off at the end of the working day is impossible. I still do not know how to do that. I mean, like I said, I'm filming a video on a Sunday. This is my 3rd weekend of trying to have weekends off, and I'm working. So yeah, I mean, I know I'm sat in front of a camera talking, and that doesn't seem like work to some people, but I struggle a lot to show up sometimes, which is something I can't afford to do. But with the depression side of things, it can be really hard to get up and want to be in front of a camera, and it took a lot for me to get up and do this today, and I'm quite glad I did because I feel better for it, and I feel like I've achieved something in my day rather than moping around all day. Not to be rude to other people that are like that, it's just the only way I can. I've kind of got to say to myself, come on, get a grip and get something done. But yeah, I'm gonna do that Monday CEO day thing to try and let it be something that we can work on together, and the whole thing of setting boundaries and everything like that. But it's tough. This industry is tough, and I don't want to try and sugarcoat it for you. It's amazing and rewarding, but it's tough, and I want you to know exactly what you're getting into rather than being sold these fake promises and this dream life, this luxurious life. It is not luxurious. I spend the majority of Monday to Friday in my pyjamas, working from a desk, between the desk and a couch. I get restless sat at a computer all day. I mean, I have the great sides that I get sent stuff quite a lot, useful stuff that I do really like. I have photo shoots usually weekly, and I like that, getting all glammed and stuff. I mean, after this I've got to film the end result of me using Olaplex, which I got given to me for free, which I've been wanting for so long, and I have to say it's done a very good job. Yeah, and there's that side of the job that I love, and it's exciting, and it's almost like influencer-y, which I think a lot of people deep down want to be, even if they wouldn't admit to it. And I've got nothing against influencers. We had, should I be saying this? Yeah, I had a lecture in university about a guy came in to talk to us about social media. And I was really excited because I thought, this is, you know, right down my street. I love this. This is because I was already doing this job back then. And he basically just slated influencers and said that, like, they didn't deserve the money they get, they don't work hard. Because this woman that he showed us, I can't remember exactly the situation, but she'd done an ad for, I think it was like a toothpaste company or something. And in the picture, oh my god, it was incredible. She had this massive she'd designed and made this bedspread like custom for the brand, and like it was a gorgeous setup. She looked incredible. She'd made pancakes and everything themed, and that must have taken her hours to make and take pictures of and edit and upload and everything. And the guy just saw it as, well, why are they doing, like, he slated it completely. But the amount of effort and time that's gone into that one post, she deserves whatever money she got for it. I think it's, yeah. I mean, I think there's some people, both influencers and like social media managers, for example, that are kind of scamming clients and people, like their audience. But I think that is a topic for another video, so I'm not going to get into that today. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm sorry this was a bit of a rant, but I just wanted you to really know the truth about this industry, because I don't like the idea of people lying to you all the time. Yeah, okay. I'll let you go now. Bye.